webinar, Understanding Software Networking. This webinar is brought to you by Live Lab Learning, which is a subsidiary of Academic Corporation, a wholly owned applied software company created to provide world-class training. This is Marcia Tucker, and I'm delighted to be your moderator today. We encourage you to interact with us by typing in questions and comments using the questions pane on the right-hand side. We will be answering all questions at the end of the presentation. This webinar is being recorded and will be available to you online on our YouTube channel. Please take note of our upcoming webinars and live events. And as you see there, livelablearning.com is a website for you to review and have access to the latest training that we're providing. Our upcoming webinars, we have listed here Dynamo, which is February the 25th, just tomorrow. Then on the 26th, we have Simulation within Inventor Professional. And that's actually part 2 of a 3-part series. Then Benefits of Bluebeam will be presented on March the 3rd. And Camelot with Inventor is going to be March the 10th. Please feel free to reach out to me at 404-564-1870, or my email is marcia@asti.com for further information on those. We actually have some live events happening, and we welcome you to those. The American Building and Construction Group is having a meeting on March the 18th. Michael Ruiz, who is a BIM specialist with applied software, will be a guest speaker, along with Georgia Tech and McCarthy Construction. Then we have a civil infrastructure event, which is being held here at the Courtyard Emory, that will revolve around civil software. Then CAM Roadshow is March the 25th is here in Atlanta, and on the 26th will be in Birmingham, Alabama. If you're not familiar with computer-aided machining software, it is a great solution for talking from your CAD software to your CNC equipment. And then for the latest news from Autodesk that few people know about, effective March the 13th, Autodesk account is going to be the new name, which is currently called Subscription Center. It's very user-friendly. I've seen a demo of it. You're going to love the expanded functionality of it, and will become the unique portal for all Autodesk subscribers. Autodesk has also started offering software as a service, and that is called desktop subscription. And renting may be a viable alternative for your company, especially when it's project-oriented. It's something that you pay as you go, and you only pay for the software when you need it. And at this point, I'm going to turn this over to Liam O'Brien and Kevin Hauk, who are our in-house specialists regarding software networking.
Thanks, Marcia. Well, hello, everyone, and thank you for your time today. We'll be addressing software license networking, and our goals today are to kind of discuss some of the features and benefits of network license management, and kind of shed some of the fear that people have. Will I be able to get a license when I've got a crucial project or that sort of thing, or what additional controls can we have for our network licensing? This is kind of one of the favorite topics of mine, so pretty happy to be here with you on this webinar. I'm joined by my coworker Liam O'Brien on our support staff. He'll be kind of providing answering a lot of support questions at the end of the webinar. So please make sure to get your questions in there. Today's webinar will be a little PowerPoint heavy with a brief demo at the end, because really this is more information rather than features. The license manager is purpose-built just to do a couple things that it does very well. But let's talk about what the difference is between standalone and network licensing is first. So first of all, standalone licensing is much like it sounds. The installation is on a workstation. Once that installation is then run for the first time, the serial number and product key are activated up to the cloud, and it validates that a license can be obtained. That license is then tied to that workstation, whether it's on the network, off the network, in an airplane, or otherwise. that license is available and can't be shared but amongst a larger set of users. The license can be returned to the cloud in order for it to be installed on another machine, but that's typically the only normal workflow for that. Contrasting that with network licensing, the network licenses are maintained on a centralized server. When an application is launched, that application reaches out to the network license manager in order to request a license at that time. This means that we can have the client application installed on a larger group of workstations. You know, perhaps I only have 10 licenses. I very well could install those 10 licenses on 20 different workstations, yet only 10 could be, you know, working in that application at one time. However, for when people have to leave the office and travel, there is the ability to check out a license from the server. This is typically done directly inside of the application that you're working with. So what is the Network License Manager? Network License Manager is a small program which we'll demo near the end of this webinar. It's available for download at that link directly there, or simply Google Autodesk latest version Network License Manager. This is also available on your installation hardware, but it could be released, an update could be released after the April products ship. So one of our best practices is to always go to the website and pull down the latest version for what you need. There are several versions there for 64-bit, 32-bit, and then also if your server is running TCP/IP version 4 or 6. So if there's any firewall ports that need to be opened between sites in order to access this Network License Manager, I want to let you know that TCP port 2080 is what the server listens on, and then tokens or the licenses themselves are exchanged through ports 27,000 through 27,009. So let's talk about requirements. What do we need in order to get our license manager going? Well, first of all, we support Windows machines, and we don't need a lot of the hardware or fast processing power in order to run this. It can run on, say, your existing Vault server or your existing file server on the network. The other requirement that we have is that you register and get a license file from Autodesk.com. A couple things that site will ask you for is the host name and the host ID. Finally, one of the things that will come along with that is we'll want to create a debug.log file in that same directory that we store the license file we receive from Autodesk, and then also the options file, which we'll talk about in a slide or two. The license file that you receive from Autodesk can be viewed a little bit easier than just opening it up in Notepad and reading the contents of it. You can actually go to licenseparser.com, and it'll ask you to browse and upload the license file that was provided to you. This can be helpful in troubleshooting and seeing what exact products were included in that license file. It will actually enumerate all of those different applications and also let you know the dates of when they were requested. So in order to maximize the impact on network licensing for your company, we've got a couple different license server models to follow. The first one is probably the most common, with just a single license server. It's one server that holds all the licenses for the company, and it's just one server to maintain. Since the ports that this server operates at is just regular TCP ports, this should work just fine over remote access and VPN tunnels across networks, provided that name resolution is working correctly on the network. Another option at your disposal is distributed license servers. In this event, we can have 2 or more servers that each have a subset of the licenses available. So if a company has 30 seats and 3 offices, it'd be possible to divide up those 30 seats into 10 seats per office. One of the drawbacks to that is that these servers don't really talk to each other. So if one server were to go down in one office, the users would have to more manually fail over to licenses at the other office. But that would still mean that in my example, only 20 licenses would be available when one license server is down. Redundant license servers overcome that problem. In this case, we have 3 license servers that host everything. And licenses are essentially provided by the group of servers. And furthermore, in this case, one license server can be offline and still all licenses will be available. One of the more hidden features of network licensing is really cascading. It's a complex topic, but essentially network licenses managed by the network license manager, we can actually automatically switch and swap them out according to the value of the license. For this example, I'm going to bring in my coworker Liam O'Brien to kind of describe this situation that we have on the screen to kind of walk you through what cascading licensing can mean. Liam?
Thank you, Kevin. So one of the examples that Kevin has put up here is a real common situation where a customer may have multiple products, and sometimes those products are going to include individual products as well as various levels of suites. So in this example, the customer may have 10 seats of AutoCAD. They also have 9 seats of Plant Design Suite Premium, as well as 1 seat of Plant Design Suite Ultimate. Obviously the Ultimate being the highest tiered product, Premium being the middle tier, and the AutoCAD being the lowest tier. So a common question that we get is, what products and how do I deploy all these suites and products out? Rather than trying to determine who just needs AutoCAD versus who just needs Plant Design Suite Ultimate and Premium. One of the real simple solutions in a case like this is to simply deploy the highest tier product to all the computers. So in this instance, they have 20 total seats, but they may have 30 users. So what we would suggest is all 30 users would get Plant Design Suite Ultimate. What this would do is this would allow any of the users to pull from any of the 3 tiered products. And that's where the power of the cascade comes in that as a user launches a particular product, it's going to pull from the lowest possible valued product available on the license server. So in his example here, a single user may open up AutoCAD to start with. At that point, it's going to go out to the server and it's going to grab 1 seat of AutoCAD. If that same user, while having AutoCAD open, also opens up a product such as Plant 3D, which is part of the Plant Design Suite Premium package, it's going to then return the AutoCAD license and cascade up and pull a license that's going to be common to both AutoCAD and Plant 3D, which in this case would be Plant Design Suite Premium. Same scenario continued on where the user then also opens up Navisworks Manage. It's going to then return the Plant Design Suite Premium license and automatically cascade up and grab, if available, the 1 license of Plant Design Suite Ultimate that this customer would have. So going through that logic, it makes it very streamlined and almost no effort required from the end user to automatically pull products as needed and pull licenses as needed. One thing that we want to mention here, of course, is that the reverse does not hold true. So as the users, oh yeah, there we go. So he's got a note here, cascading only occurs from bottom up, not top down. So what we mean by that is, in that previous example, the user has now an ultimate license because they've opened up a series of products. If they begin to close those higher tiered products, those higher valued products, it's not going to reverse the cascade. Meaning if they close Navisworks Manage, it's not going to then say, okay, I no longer need the ultimate license, I only need a premium, let me reverse that. It's not going to do that automatically, unfortunately, right now. What you can do, however, is you can simply close down everything and then relaunch just Plant 3D or just AutoCAD, and it'll reset the cycle again. There's a few other products, such as he's got with notes here about Inventor versus Inventor Professional. Those are 2 different products in the Autodesk world. One comes with the Product Design Suite Premium, one comes with Product Design Suite Ultimate. So there are a few little catches here and there depending on what type of product you own, where you do have to be a little more careful about compatibility and how they will cascade, because Inventor Professional will not pull from a Product Design Suite Premium suite. It will, however, pull from a Product Design Suite Ultimate or the Inventor Pro product. But Inventor will pull from any of those because, again, it is a lower tiered product than those.
Yeah. Can be confusing, can't it, Liam?
It can.
Because there's a lot going on.
Autodesk does have some documentation, and we can always provide that to anyone needed, where they actually have it spelled out. We didn't want to put it on these slides here, but they actually have the exact cascading order and sequence for each product.
And that's
all the way back to versions 2012.
And that's available on the Autodesk Knowledge Network. We'll try and provide a link to that on our homepage as well.
Absolutely.
Okay. Thank you. So moving on and kind of also uncovering a few more benefits to network licensing is really the options file. This is a text-based text file that is placed next to the license file on your license server. There's a document there that describes the specific entries that we can make to control how long a user might be inactive before their license is returned to the pool of available licenses. Furthermore, we can control how long users are able to borrow licenses. So currently users might be able to check out a license for 6 months. Well, if you were running a little more lean, you might want to ensure that they're only able to check out the license for perhaps a week or 30 days. Also, one of my favorite features is really reserving licenses for a specific, power user, perhaps, or perhaps a group of power users. Also, we can reserve a network license for a single workstation. Perhaps multiple users work at a given workstation, and we want to make sure that centralized workstation always has a seat available to it. So we can reserve a license for that. Furthermore, there are other ways to create a project team. This kind of dovetails with a little bit of Active Directory group policy in order to create an environment variable that defines somebody as part of a project. Then we define how many licenses might be available for that project team in the options file, and the combination makes it so that we can pretty easily make sure that an active project team is getting the licenses they need. Finally, this is also where we might enable license report logging to be picked up by a product we're going to discuss in a moment. Before we get there, though, we wanted to at least enumerate some of the error codes that our support team kind of deals with most often. These happen inside the application. Usually a friendly little error box will pop up when the application is being launched, and you'll get one of these. To be clear, it's the number in red that is the most important. These error codes and the rest of them that are kind of less common are also available on our website in the Autodesk Knowledge Network. And finally, I wanted to bring my friend Liam back here to talk about a partner product that we work with called OpenLM. I've had a relationship with them for several years now, and it provides an interesting way to get better metrics on your license utilization. It is typically a paid-for product and has some interesting features that we'd like to highlight. Of course, if you're interested in purchasing OpenLM or would like additional information, please don't hesitate to contact Marcia Tucker, who introed this webinar. Liam, did you want to highlight some of the activities we've got going on there on the screen?
Absolutely. So one of the really nice things about OpenLM is it's all web-based, meaning you essentially set it up on your license server, and you can give access to whomever you like within your local network. So not just the admins, but the end users can access certain portions of this. And as you can kind of see in the screenshot here, the one larger screenshot kind of shows you a lot of different things happening, but it's kind of a good overview showing you that you can get various levels of reports, graphs, charts, usage statistics, just really anything you'd want to know about license usage and availability. So it's really a nice way to really get a grip on how much data, how many licenses you're using, who's using them, when they're being used. A really common scenario is a customer may want to determine if they're utilizing all the products that they purchased, if there's some that they're not fully utilizing, perhaps why, or perhaps rolling those into other products that they may be at 100% utilization of, and they could use more seats of. Some of the other things on the workstation, and it works within the works with the software, the Autodesk software that you have on your computer, and it lets you do certain things. One of the really nice things it'll let you do is it'll let you notify if there's a license or when there's a license available. So if you have a particular product that maybe you only have a few seats available to the network, this will let you kind of go into a standby mode, wait, and when it becomes available, it'll let you know so that you can go ahead and grab it without having to pester a coworker or constantly check.
That's my favorite feature because it avoids people, standing up and yelling down the hall or across cubicles to, hey, get out of AutoCAD map or something like that.
Yep, exactly. Especially on some of the more premium products that a lot of customers don't necessarily need to have many seats of, but they certainly need at least a couple. But yeah, it does make things a little easier and smoother for you.
Yeah. Well, so now we're kind of here to the demonstration portion. I'll kind of flip over and kind of try and bring up my Network License Manager. I just wanted to take a brief moment, and there we go. Okay. Liam, can you see my License Manager here?
We are seeing it, yes.
Okay, great. So basically, after installation, this is the License Manager. We've got a couple things. When I'm trying to request a license file, I can easily go to the System Settings tab. It'll give me my host name and give me my MAC address as well right here. So when I'm head on over to registeronce.autodesk.com, I've got that information ready to go. When I get my, Liam also likes to point out, by the way, I shouldn't skip this, Liam, that it'll also allow you to save this information directly to a text document. So let's see. And so here, this is just a text document that contains the same information. Perhaps I'm in IT and maybe I'm not the contract administrator. I might actually use this to email this information to my contract administrator who might be requesting the license file. So moving on, we actually get to cruise all the way down to the second to last tab. This is where this is the business end of things, where we're configuring the service. Most important things are here is we just simply path out these files after installation. So just find this LMGRD, which is actually the license manager itself. Path out the license file here, which you can see is in my window there. And then I've also created a debug.log file and path that out as well. That is really handy when we're trying to perhaps troubleshoot what might be going on. And you can see it's keeping track of who's got what. Finally, we check these boxes to use the services and also make sure that this service is set to start when this server comes online. It's probably the most important thing of the License Manager is that it stays on. Once we're done there, just merely save the service. And then here at Start, Stop, Reread tab, this is kind of where we can control things, like stop the service, for example, if we're making changes to the license file, reread it, and then also, start the server. Once we're provided with that server start successful message, on the server status tab, we can perform a status inquiry. Now this kind of can look like Greek, but if you've been doing it as long as Liam, you can see that I've got 5 licenses of Vault Pro 2015 available and ready to go. And we're using that specific license file.
Yeah, and there's a few things that I'll point out here as well. One thing that comes up quite a bit that's real handy, if you're one of the users who is going to be going into LM Tools, you're going to be running these perform status inquiries, A real common reason why you might do this would be simply to check on the status of a license. So if you don't have something like OpenLM, where you need to, where it'll give you that statistical information, this is going to be the best place and simplest place for you to go find out who has what licenses. So you can do this, and if someone did have a license open, below where it stated how many licenses were available, it would actually give you some user feedback information. It would give you the username, the license they had open, the date, the time, the computer. Something else to point out is if you go to the edit menu, you can hit clear window, which is also very, very handy, because if you continue to run multiple inquiries without clearing this window, the information can get a little confusing. You're not sure if you're looking at the latest data. So rather than closing down the program, which is what I find a lot of people will do, you can just simply go to edit and hit clear window, and it's a much faster process.
Excellent. Okay. Thanks, Liam. And I think with that, I think we can turn it over to questions. I hope we have some questions there, Marcia.
Thank you. We did have one question come in regards to under the options. You talked about having a dedicated license, say, to a user. Does it always have to be a person, or can it be a dedicated to, say, a computer that's unmanned?
It can be to an unmanned computer. Yeah, that's just done by entering a line that then reserves a license by feature code to, say, that username. Or I'm sorry, that computer name, Marcia. I misspoke.
Correct. Yeah, you can, and that's where that site that you had mentioned earlier, Kevin, really comes in handy, the license parser, because one of the things that you'll see when you run the license parser is it'll provide you all the feature codes, and a lot of the information that you have to input in that options file to control different aspects of the license, the licenses, you'll need to call out those feature codes. Which is good in the sense that you can actually have different parameters for different products. So let's say, for instance, our example that we had earlier where we talked about plant and the user had 10 seats of AutoCAD and 9 premiums and 1 ultimate. They may want to control access to that 1 ultimate suite, but the other suites they're not as concerned about. So they could call out just control for that 1 suite. And you can do it by computer name or IP address or user.
I also like the
manufacturing industry.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Kevin.
No, I'm sorry. Go right ahead, Liam.
Oh, so I was going to say, in the manufacturing industry, to talk about what Marcia's question was from the user, that's a real common scenario for a computer that's set up as a dedicated workstation for a piece of equipment. So a CNC machine or something along those lines, where they need to make sure it can always obtain a license. You'll reserve a license of a product for that piece of equipment.
Yep. That's exactly what I was going to mention. Thanks, Liam. That's perfect.
Just on my personal inquiry there, the link that you have regarding the knowledge.autodesk, could we maybe expand on what that provides? And is that a part of the options file?
That link, yes. It's basically a link directly to the Autodesk site for an article that describes what options are available. In this case, for example, it must be named adskflex.opt. It must be in the same directory as the license file. And then, for example, they have really good examples of how you might use it. So I might create a group here. I might name it, give that group a name, and then here are my usernames that are part of it. Or, just like your previous question, we might establish another group based on computer names here. So,
yes. So that link has all the good examples of the different parameters, how to set it up.
Exactly.
You also mentioned there that you can control the time that someone has the ability to check out a license, the duration that. Is there a maximum amount that is guided by the Autodesk rules, like 400 days, or, or is it just unlimited that someone can have it checked out?
I think 6 months is the longest that it can be checked out by default, right, Liam?
Correct. If you don't put any parameter in the options file, the default limit is actually set by the license manager software, and it's 180 days, which
Right.
is something that we do not recommend, as Kevin said.
Yeah.
One of the big reasons you don't want to do that is something that people may not think about always, but if something happens to let's say a laptop has a license borrowed for 6 months, and 2 months in that laptop is stolen or it's destroyed, something happens to that laptop, that license effectively is gone, because the only way to return the license is to either let it expire naturally on the date in which it was originally set to return on, or open the software on the original computer and return it manually. So if that laptop is no longer available, it can be somewhat problematic. So,
Sure.
yeah, so it's one of the reasons you really want to do set a limit. And a real common limit is, people ask, well, what should we set it to? And it really depends on your business. But a real common limits are anywhere from the low end, maybe 3 or 4 days, which would let someone borrow a license for, say, a long weekend, or maybe a few weeks, which would let someone go off-site, work at a job site, take it on travel for a few weeks. But realistically, someone probably doesn't need to borrow a license for longer than a few weeks at a time, because, again, as Kevin mentioned, you can always get a new license by just connecting with a VPN connection or some other method to the network.
Okay, all righty. That currently concludes all the questions that were submitted.
Okay.
So if you could flip to our questions page, then people can you can see our web address there of Live Lab Learning, and then this recording, if you flip to YouTube channel, next page there, that'd be great. This recording and all of our previous webinars are located at our Live Lab Learning on the YouTube. If you will search for that, you'll be able to find all of our subjects that have been covered. We will also be sending a follow-up email with a link for your viewing and sharing with your colleagues regarding today's webinar. So we would like to thank you for joining us today, and we hope you have found this beneficial. Make a great day.
Thanks, Marcia.
Thank you.